Folks, while we were recording this episode of Redneck Matinee on Smokey and the Bandit and the upcoming Smokey and the Bandit 2 episode, Mr. Burt Reynolds passed away.
So when you hear us reference the late, great Mr. Reynolds, you're going to hear us reference him as if he were living, because he was at the time.
And sometimes you may hear us reference him as if he's gone, and our hearts are full of sadness, audibly, and you'll be like, oh, they must have done this part after he died.
Yeah.
That's just a heads up.
Rest in peace.
At last, a warm, sensitive, touching story about the close personal relationship between a man and a woman, between a trucker and his dog,
Fred, I'm so damn tired of picking you up. I got to. Fred!
between a father
No way,
and his son.
no way that you could come from my loins.
And how they all took to the road one day for a quiet little drive in the country. From Georgia to Texas and back in 28 hours flat with a truckload of bootleg beer.
I'll be driving this one. Yeah, blocker. You'll be driving the truck. This is Bandit 1, and that is Bandit 2.
The year was 1977. Jimmy Carter had just become the first president inaugurated on a dirt bike.
That was the only thing I liked about him.
There were 9 brands of cigarette: man, real man, invalid, woman, lady, shy lady, Aunt Ruth, children's, and joint.
It was mandatory to carry 3 of those brands on your person at all times.
And on May 27th, Smokey and the Bandit was released.
The greatest movie of all time.
Some people may say the greatest movie of all time is Citizen Kane or Godfather Part 2 or Vertigo, but the people who say it's Smokey and the Bandit are the people who can kick your ass. Then Star Wars was released on May 25th, both before Memorial Day. That's a crazy summer. What'd you do that summer, Jackie?
I slapped Chewbacca's out of kids' hands and signed them up for truck driving school.
Jackie, I know that ain't true because, as everyone is aware, Kenner was caught off guard by the success of A New Hope, and figures weren't even released until early 1978 when... Ow!
That's for being a nerd on our Smokey and the Bandit show.
Burt would have liked that.
He woulda, yeah.
Right turn, Clyde. What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Redneck Matinee.
Ain't gonna hurt.
You got the one snowman out, eastbound and down.
Hey there, everybody. This is Jackie Bro.
Folks, people, this is Dunlap. We also host the Red State Update podcast, where we cuss Trump and talk about local sponsors from right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
But none of that here on Redneck Matinee. No, on here we just talk about our favorite Southern movies. And today we have probably the greatest Southern movie, or I should say the greatest movie ever made, Smokey and the Bandit.
And in honor of the greatest movie ever made, Jackie, and in honor of the plot about bootlegging Coors from Texas back to Atlanta, GA, I brought us a couple of Coors here, Jackie, and I thought you might like to sip on these while we do this.
I don't like
Like in
Coors.
tribute to
No, I don't. I don't
Smokey
like
and the
Coors.
Bandit.
I don't like Coors beer. Never have.
What's
I
the matter
don't
with
care.
Coors beer?
I don't care for it. I mean,
It's just like, imagine it's 1977.
I
and
didn't like it in 1977. I don't like it now. I always drank Budweiser when I drank. I didn't like Coors beer.
What
I
if
still don't like
Burt Reynolds showed up with a truck full of this that he just hauled all the way from Texas at Big Enos Burdett's request, and you gonna be like, I don't like it, I don't like it.
All right.
We wasting like 5 minutes of
All
podcast
right, just
time.
give it here.
It's gonna taste delicious,
Yeah, we'll see about that.
golden and. No.
I don't want this. I told you it's
No.
not good.
Oh, gee, I
took
knew
a-
it wasn't gonna be great, but Jackie, according to Stuntman, the Hal Needham Story, written by Hal Needham, and Burt Reynolds, But Enough About Me, written by Burt Reynolds. The story of Smokey and the Bandit begins in a hotel room on the set of Gator. When Hal and I were getting ready to shoot Gator in Georgia, the traffic captain put a bunch of Coors on the truck in L.A. and took it down there, says Burt Reynolds. He gave Hal a couple cases for his condo, and Hal put a few bottles in the refrigerator, but the next time he looked, they were gone. He put a few more in, and they disappeared, too. He figured it was an inside job, and he was right. It was the maid.
Yep.
He caught her red-handed with 2 bottles in her cart. He asked her why she was stealing Coors beer, and she said, "You can't get it around here. My husband loves it." In Hal's mind, smuggling Coors become the MacGuffin for a movie, the thread that would tie the action together.
Did he fire the maid?
What?
Did he fire the maid? I don't know if I'd have asked her why she stole something. I'd just be like, "You stealing from me? Get out," you know. That's how I'd be.
I'd be like, "I'm going to give you points in this movie."
Well, she deserves it if she helped inspire this whole...
It's basically her idea.
Well, maybe she should get a point or 2.
I've heard this story. We heard it in the documentary, The Bandit. I've seen it in 2 books by 2 of America's finest. I've never heard anybody say whether they fired the maid or
Yeah,
not.
I don't know anything about that. She can have a career in movies. That's one thing, but she sounds like a terrible maid. You don't want a maid that steals from you, no matter what it is.
Another story we keep hearing about the making of Smokey and the Bandit is that they held a contest to pick Fred.
Oh, Fred, I love Fred. Big old dog, basset hound dog, yeah.
Well, I always thought that was probably just Hollywood horse hockey, but it turns out, according to the Atlanta Constitution from August 26, 1976, Reynolds to pick Ugly Dog. In the middle of our bicentennial hangover, Burt Reynolds, it says here, Burt Reynolds, here to film Smokey and the Bandit for Universal Pictures, will be the chief judge at a beauty contest, in quotes, of sorts, for dogs, Sunday at the Atlanta Civic Center at 2 p.m.
That would have been fun to go to that, yeah, whether you had a dog or not.
Says he will be joined in the judging by actress Sally Field and actor Jerry Reed, but I don't know if they showed up. Says he's looking for the dumbest, ugliest, most lethargic male dog in the Southeast. Well, that's sexist. Did we ever see Fred's underside to tell that he was a male?
He was a male dog, yeah. There's a few scenes where he's up on the dash and you can see.
That's funny.
Not that I'm looking at it.
I never noticed that. That's funny.
He put his paws up
right
there.
there.
It's a dog.
I really would have liked to gone to this.
I would have too. Now I think Jerry Reed probably should have had a lot of sway in this. I know it's Burt Reynolds and he's a star and he's a movie, but it's Jerry Reed that has to sit with the dog. He's the one that's got to carry him around. He's the one that's got to go chase him in the lake, all of it.
Yeah, you'd think Jerry Reed would want to at least come over and smell these dogs.
Sure.
All right, so then on August 30th, 1976, if you really want to do a deep dive, Jackie.
Well, yeah.
Dog Day Afternoon, the headline reads in the Atlanta Constitution. Burt Reynolds meets Happy, the winning entry.
Is that Fred's real name?
Fred's real name is Happy.
Yeah.
Happy is the property of John McCullough, who puts the dog's age at 2. Actress Sally Field, who will star with Reynolds in the movie to be filmed in and around Atlanta over the next 6 weeks, did most of the preliminary judging. She and Hal Needham, Burt's stuntman, who will direct the film, no wonder he had a chip on his shoulder, eliminated all but 10 dogs. Burt took over there.
Yeah, I'll go down there and sort it out. Get it down to about 10, and I'll pick one out. I ain't going to spend the whole damn afternoon down there.
No, but I'll get Emmy winner Sally Field and my stuntman. That's my stuntman. He's going to direct the thing for me. Jackie, speaking of directing, I have a passage I'd like to read to you from Burt Reynolds' 1994 autobiography, My Life.
Oh, please do.
Well, Burt Reynolds says, Jackie, that Sally Field was shocked that even Gleason, the great one, took my suggestions. Of course, Jackie was brilliant on his own, he says. Is it confusing when I say Jackie and I'm talking about Jackie Gleason and I'm talking to you, Jackie Broles?
I think I can suss my way through it, but...
What about the listener?
That I can't speak on behalf of anybody listen to this.
Hal worked lightning quick. He's talking about his best friend and roommate, Hal Needham, working lightning quick all over Georgia. Sally rode back to the hotel with me, acting as if she just figured out a big secret. They were talking about how fast Hal Needham works. You're directing this movie, aren't you? She asked. This is Burt Reynolds talking about Sally Field, talking about his best friend and director of Smokey and the Bandit, Hal Needham. No, I'm suggesting, I said. Yes, but we're all taking the suggestions, she said. Okay, well, I'm sort of with the actors, and Hal takes care of everything else. Why? No reason, she said. Like everyone in Hollywood, I'm just trying to figure out why you are who you are. You don't like that?
Well, not when she's saying it to him and they're alone. No.
TV Tarzan has fans convinced he's a swinger. Jackie, I thought we'd take a moment to talk about Mike Henry, who plays Junior Justice. Buford T. Justice Jr., I guess is his name.
Yep, funny man, yeah.
Really funny. Gets funnier every time you watch it. You don't think of him as MVP of Smokey and the Bandit, but without him, what is Smokey and the Bandit? It all falls apart.
He's about 30%, I'd say, yeah.
Junior's the glue. He's the glue. Also, he was Tarzan. He's a former linebacker who wound up portraying Tarzan.
I'd like to see him play Tarzan, yeah. I'd look at those.
Late 60s Tarzan movies where he was shooting a giant gun at a helicopter in a clip I saw on YouTube. Until the movie series was about to become a TV series, and he was nipped by a chimp, according to this article in the Salt Lake Tribune from February 1st, 1967. A chimpanzee got temperamental and nipped Henry on the chin instead of kissing him, as it was supposed to do.
Not kiss monkeys. And, I mean, Tarzan didn't kiss. The old Tarzan never did kiss monkeys. But
well, this was the 60s.
That's true, yeah.
After getting 18 stitches in his chin, Henry took the first jet out of Brazil and said, "Get me out of here." And shortly thereafter was having a suit prepared for $800,000 worth of damages against the production company. I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah, you had a good lawyer, yeah.
I mean, just show up with the stitches and a picture of the chimp.
He got off easy, let me say, because chimpanzees get a hold of it. They can do a lot worse than give you some stitches. They can permanently, alter you.
Jackie, let me tell you what Smokey and the Bandit's all about.
Yeah.
It's all about freedom.
Indeed it is, yeah.
It's about freedom. It's the freedom of the open road.
Oh, yeah.
It's freedom from that work-a-day, 9-to-5 neck-tied day job.
Well, yeah.
Finding freedom in the exotic, non-stop adventure of truck driving.
Mm.
It's freedom from the work-a-day, 9-to-5 neck-tied job of truck driving.
Right.
And finding freedom in the lucrative career of being famous for... What is Burt Reynolds famous for in this?
Showing off.
Something showing off, like the Bandit. Freedom. It's freedom from the constraints of traditional marriage. Like Frog. And let's be honest, Snowman, because he ditched that family like the second Burt Reynolds showed up.
Oh, they ain't in that long.
He's getting ready as Burt Reynolds is talking him into it. Like he knew he was going the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Freedom from obscure bootlegging laws. Freedom from getting bit in the face by a chimp.
What?
If you're Mike Henry.
Well, yeah, but that ain't got nothing to do with the movie.
If you're Jackie Gleason, it's freedom from not being in movies for a little while.
Well, yeah.
If you're Jerry Reed, it's freedom from being a successful country music star. If you're Burt Reynolds, it's freedom from not being the biggest movie star on the planet until this happens. And that pretty much just kind of... If you're Sally Field, it's freedom from Gidget.
Flying Nun.
And the Flying Nun. If you're Hal Needham, it's freedom from being a Burt Reynolds stuntman and becoming a billionaire movie director. Was he a billionaire?
I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he did all right. Did well for himself.
It's freedom from the old South driving into the new. It's freedom from the way the wars fucked us up and the damn Watergate, and freedom from the late 70s, getting tired. Oh, we're so tired. We're tired from the drugs and the the Vietnam. Remember how tired you get in that car and all of a sudden, freedom.
Why?
Smokey and the Bandit, here it comes. Put your hat on. Put the pedal to the metal, good buddy.
Yeah, freedom.
Freedom to see the real southern back roads on that screen, not Hollywood backlots. Burt Reynolds had the freedom to go into the South and represent real country back roads.
Lush green, that's home, yeah.
The music, Jackie, the freedom in that music. Oh, that song, Eastbound and Down.
Ah, yeah.
Every note sound like freedom in that song. The freedom of a million road trip playlists, Jackie. That's freedom.
Yeah.
The freedom to live your authentic life.
Well, yeah.
Just as Dina K. Rose lives her authentic life.
Yeah.
Dina K. Rose, who wrote Eastbound and Down with Jerry Reed.
Oh, okay.
When she was, to quote her website, a dude writing songs in Nashville named Dick Feller,
Yeah.
who also wrote Lord, Mr. Ford, the best song ever.
That's a good song, yeah.
This movie is steeped in freedom. It's freedom tea. Freedom tea. It tastes like Burt Reynolds and Jerry Reed and Fred.
Ah.
Take a big gulp of Fred and freedom, Fred'em. Take a big gulp of Fred'em. It's 1976 somewhere in Georgia.
All right, calm down now.
Let's just talk about the plot.
I couldn't tell you what the story is of Smokey and the Bandit if you put a gun to my head.
Shut up, Burt Reynolds, in a recent interview.
What? Who's going to hold a gun to Burt Reynolds' head and ask him the plots of his movies? I mean, I know there's crazy people out there, but
I wouldn't put nothing past people in this world.
maybe he needs to listen to this so he'll be able to, if he finds himself in that situation, we can help old Burt out and tell him the plot here.
Even if somebody put a gun to Burt Reynolds' head, what he's going to wind up talking about is how Dustin Hoffman isn't as good an actor as him, and he should have had a baby back when he wanted to, and he doesn't get the respect he deserves. He should have directed more.
You know, yeah, I think he should have.
He
yeah.
might get around to telling you the plots of his movies if you have a gun to his head, but first you're gonna hear some of that.
He gonna have to warm up to it. Yeah,
He might slap the gun.
That's true.
Jackie, this movie barrels down the highway. It never stops moving. It's all about freedom and finding an open road and
Driving, a lot of driving in it. All of it's in a car.
Fast driving.
Cars, trucks, pretty much. That's it.
What are the places where it's not a car or truck? Racetrack, which is sort of a car.
Hammock at the racetrack.
Right. That's when you take a break from driving.
Right. The restaurant that gets a Diablo sandwich at.
Yep. Jerry Reed's bed, but that's where truckers sleep and make trucker babies.
And Burt Reynolds wakes him up.
By climbing on top of him.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, the rest of it's all in cars. Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, that don't hinder it none. If you want a movie about cars driving, this is probably one of the best ones, I'd say.
It starts off with just a bunch of shots of a truck.
Yeah, that's always good when you see the grill and the brakes and the smokestack, the underside, all of it looking good. And then old Jerry Reed is singing The Legend. And it's a song all about Bandit skill driving a truck, but it never really does drive a truck.
He drives a car. When you think Smokey and the Bandit, you don't think Burt Reynolds in a truck.
But they say he's a famous truck driver at the beginning of it.
Monte Eagle Mountain. That Monte Eagle grade is long and steep or whatever. But I guess Burt Reynolds drove a truck in the 60s?
I don't, maybe he was famous for something before that, but he don't drive any. The only time he's in a truck is when he drives Jerry Reed's house, and that's it. But we don't even get to see that. He just pulls up and gets out.
I'm going to say I don't think that's really Burt Reynolds driving that truck.
Well, no, but the character, in a way. The Bandit is who we're talking about. Bandit, yeah.
So Bandit is super famous for being a truck driver, even though in these movies we never see him drive a truck. He's so famous for doing it that the Jerry Reed song is just called The Legend. It's not called The Legend of the Bandit, just The Legend. Like
just
you
the
say,
legend.
The Legend, you go, oh, about the Bandit, the famous truck driver.
And he says some other legends in there, but the song is just about the Bandit.
You may have heard the legend of Jesse James or John Henry, but
that's not what this song is. No,
this song's about Burt Reynolds, so it's better.
Well, it's a good song. Well, after we see all this nice parts of this truck, looks real good, shiny, looking good up there on the movie screen, then we got this scene that kind of sets the story up, but not Now, I mean, you don't know that's what it is when you're watching it. Like, what the hell? But we see these people, you know, police pull over this gentleman with a trucker, opens the door, and, of course, there's a whole bunch of Coors beer.
And I got to say, this whole time, I can't remember exactly what I was hoping was going to happen when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I was probably hoping that Burt Reynolds was going to jump out.
Well, that's what you think. You're waiting for Burt Reynolds. You go to see a Burt Reynolds movie, that's what you want to happen, but that's not the case
There's
here.
a pipe-smoking cop who's like, don't you know that bootlegging is Coors beer beast of the dip? And then the guy in the shirt and getting some money. It's a very 70s scene. It's a great scene, except I want Burt Reynolds to be there.
Well, that's what you want in a Burt Reynolds movie. That's exactly what you want. But fortunately,
this is just exposition. If you're going to have exposition, why don't you have Burt Reynolds drive by and go, ha, ha, ha.
yeah, he got you, didn't he?
You know how it goes.
Yeah. Just add it. You're right about that. But I guess he can't be on the set every day, I don't reckon. You know what I mean? You got to do something on
Like he can't be there the days Jackie Gleason is there.
Right, that's true. We'll get to that in a little while, but yep, that's right. Yep.
And he can't be there when fat Bing Crosby bald cop is there.
Well, he ain't in it now. You waiting for him, but it don't show up.
So there's a few days.
Well, after this quick, brief scene, fortunately brief, without Burt Reynolds in it.
But
then,
we did spend 2 minutes talking about it.
Well, that's true. We did. We did spend a little time about it, but it's much faster if you just watch it. So maybe skip this part.
Faster. You don't need us really talking over this scene that opens Smokey and the Bandit, where a trucker gets arrested.
Just know Burt Reynolds ain't in it. That's all. Just we'd let you down easy.
Like, you don't really need that scene. Look, I would never tell Hal Needham. Let me spend 1 more minute on that. I would never tell Hal Needham how to direct a movie.
Nor would I. No, sir.
But, however, actually, you don't need that scene at the beginning.
You don't, because they're about to tell us again. Because we go to the next scene. We're on the, what is it? It's a truck rodeo, right? It's
the
in
truck
Georgia.
Rodeo, and you meet Big Enos and Little Enos, who the
right.
Bing Crosby cop just told us about.
Right.
And then Burt Reynolds is going to say that's bootlegging.
Yeah.
And then later Jerry Reed's going to say it's bootlegging.
Right. So they tell you about it 3 or 4 times, and then, of course, the police are trying to stop them all the way through it, too, because, you know. But yeah, they tell you it's really not necessary. Here they tell us right off the bat, we'll go get this beer, bring it there. We're going to make a bet, and Burt Reynolds is wise to it. He knows.
Do you think that's a rule, like a Hollywood rule? Like, well, you got to tell them 3 times.
I guess it is.
One boring way, then Jerry Reed, then Burt Reynolds.
Well, I'll be honest, and I love this movie. I don't mean to say anything bad about it, but this is one of those movies where you could be sitting there watching, hanging on every word, and at some point lean over to your friends. Where are they going now? And, you know, it's okay. It's one of those movies where, we'll figure it out.
And they're pretty much just going in a straight line and back.
Yeah, they're just on the road. I mean, they get a few detours here and there, but for the most part, we're in the car driving. We should talk about Big and Little Enos. These are characters that will go on throughout the history of the Burt Reynolds movies, as far as our Smokey and the Bandit movies. I guess he didn't do one of them.
That's Big Enos and Little Enos. If you just go by appearances in Smokey and the Bandit movies, they are more important to the franchise than Burt Reynolds. That's not true. That's a straw man thing I just said.
I know. It's not true, but they're important. They're definitely important. They pretty much set the plots of these movies in motion. And they do in this one, because they go to talk to the bandit, and they see the bandit sitting there. He's sitting there in a hammock.
See, son? Old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Seems like a legend and an out-of-work bum look a lot alike, Daddy.
We get the first Burt Reynolds laugh when he lifts his hat up and sees Big and Little, because he thinks Big and Little is funny, and it is.
Burt Reynolds is laughing at them in their face.
Right. Keep calling one a dwarf, keep calling one a fat,
Like, that's kind of shamey.
Well,
it's a little shamey.
That's just your sense of humor, but
Why do they want the Bandit to do it? He's selling autographed pictures of himself half off at the truck rodeo. ROADEO.
Well, I guess because maybe now, see, this is helping me out here. Maybe that scene before all this was important. maybe because an average trucker is unable to do this job, he got arrested.
Oh.
See, that's so we're figuring this out now for the first time. So he had to get a professional, somebody who, the best truck driver known to do it.
Show, don't tell.
Yep.
So we're at the truck rodeo, the Georgia Truck Rodeo, filmed in 1976. Pat McCormick has that 1976 cup he's drinking out of. If you've ever watched closely, one of them bicentennial cups he's dipping his walrus mustache into. And they get Burt Reynolds to agree to making the run.
That's not too hard.
And Burt Reynolds, he's bored. He's washed up. He's past his prime. He's looking for a little something.
And they give him a lot of money, too. He
Money.
Making the little one more and more money. Give me some more. And Daddy said give it to him, and the little one don't want to.
Burt Reynolds says he needs money to buy a car because it needs a blocker. Is that a real thing? Like, this whole movie is about Burt Reynolds driving blocker for a truck. And then in White Lightning,
yeah.
He's also blocker for moonshine runners. Is that just a thing they invented for Burt Reynolds movies? Did that really exist? Because if the trick is, if the thing is that blockers exist, then police are going to figure out that there are blockers pretty quick. Like if you're on the bootlegging highway and you see two cars going and then one car comes by real fast, you'd be like, hey, maybe that other car works for Al Capone.
Right.
If you see a truck and a Trans Am, well, I mean, now you're going to know what's up.
Well, yeah, definitely now.
I mean, if you're a policeman, you see a truck and a Trans Am come by, you'd be like, shit.
Look out. Yeah.
I'm in the movie. I'm living in a movie now.
I mean, that's a movie that a police officer probably doesn't want to live in because I don't know, its depiction of law enforcement is not the most flattering, I guess.
They crash a lot.
Yeah. A lot of crashing. Not one good driver in the police department in this movie. And I guess the best driver is Jackie Gleason because he managed to keep going. He don't wind up in a swamp or river or in a fire or whatever.
He's either the best driver or he's got the sturdiest car.
Yeah, I think it may be sturdiest car because, there ain't much left of it by the end, but, it's still running.
All right, so Burt Reynolds got some money. He's got some juice coursing through his veins again. He goes over to Jerry Reed's house, insults his wife, mocks their family, and climbs on top of Jerry Reed to get him to go on a weekend vacation with him. Nobody can have anything that Burt Reynolds wants in this movie.
Pretty much.
So Burt Reynolds takes Jerry Reed away from his wife, and they boy fuss over a car. Shiny, honey hush.
Ho, ho, ho! Well, God almighty, would you look at that? Beautiful, huh? Honey hush.
They got a dog.
Fred.
Fred's a good dog.
Fred is a good dog, rides in the truck, only acts up one time in the whole movie. The rest of the time, he behaves himself.
And that's because he probably just been in a truck with Jerry Reed for 2 days. What do you think he smells like? A dog already, and then Jerry Reed and eating them hamburgers. Like, let me in this pond for a minute.
It's clean. Yeah, need to freshen up.
Let me at least splash some water on my dog face. Then we get to hear Westbound and Down.
Which is a little off-putting because if you love Eastbound and Down so much, something's a little off. Like, oh, here we go. But it's still like, well, Westbound and Down.
It's like somebody did a parody, but they're not.
Yeah. It just
didn't think it through.
They only play it this one time in the movie, so you can get through that pretty quickly, and then the rest of the time they play it, it's old Eastbound and Down.
How'd they decide to make Eastbound and Down the single and not Westbound and Down? I guess because nothing happens on the way out there.
No, we don't see they go get beer and then they head back. We don't see on the way there they ain't hauling nothing. They ain't no hurry, they're just going down there.
So he got Eastbound and Down, Westbound and Down, and the song from Smokey and the Bandit 2 out of that one song. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Technically, the Smokey and the Bandit 2 is a different song. Technically, it's a different movie, but Technically.
Technically, yeah.
I mean, it got Elephant and Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise.
Dom DeLuise. They throw him in there, yeah, in the mix.
Somebody needs to write Jerry Reed versions of songs about movies, other movies.
He'd be good because every time there's a story about him writing a song, he's sang with him, remember he did the song for Gator as well. And I think Burt Reynolds said this a couple of times. So he just comes out with his guitar, sings that song, and says, "What do you think of it?" Asked Hal Needham and him. And they said, "Don't you change nothing. That's it right there." And I think he did the same thing with Gator. So if he's just sitting around on a movie set, you need to go ask him, "Hey, where's the song?"
Son, I got a song about the cider house rules. Bang, bong, bang.
Was he in that?
Nope.
Oh. Well, he'd be good writing a song about it either way.
He would have been a good. Name me a movie Michael Caine is in that Jerry Reed wouldn't have been better. Name me one.
That ain't one that I know of.
So they're playing Westbound and Down, and then they're driving, and they see there's a cop taking a leak.
Well, that's something the police do a lot in this movie. Is it the same police officer we get to see him pee twice?
Later on, when we switch to Eastbound and Down, we see that same cop taking a leak.
Got to pee on it. They maybe have issues,
In the 70s, cops could piss wherever they wanted to.
Evidently, judging watching this, yeah.
Now they got those body cams on.
Yeah.
Technically. Where is the town where he hides from the cop? This is on the way. He hides from the cop. The pissing cop chases him. And he pulls up behind that building. Hides.
Police car goes on.
And Burt Reynolds does a look to the camera.
And as you explain this to me, that's breaking the fourth wall. That's right. The film talk, right?
Yeah, he breaks the fourth wall. He pulls a Fresh Prince.
Yeah. And it wiggles his eyebrows,
Does a Groucho cigar motion. Pulls a horn out. Blows it.
And drives on. Which I don't bother me none. I think it's Burt. If it's a Burt Reynolds movie, I think I've been cheated if there isn't a scene in it where he looks into the camera. That's what I'm waiting for.
It's like he is saying, "Hey, Jackie, come on, get in this car with me.
We're having fun, ain't we?
We're about to run the roads with Jerry Reed. You have to get in the back when I pick up Sally Field."
I could fit in the back of that car. That's too little. Those little
legs.
cars, too compact for me. Yeah, just her crawling all around in that car made me nervous. It's pretty much all she does in it for the first half of it, just crawling around all the time in a car. He's driving. It makes me nervous.
You don't like people crawling around in your car?
No, I want people sitting still when I'm driving. I don't want people crawling around all over me. Taking the clothes off, putting different clothes on, getting in the back, getting in the front, all around, the rear end up in your face, leg this way, leg that. No, that's dangerous. It really is. There's a lot of things in this film that's dangerous, but, it's not, it didn't come out to, teach you any lessons to keep you out of trouble. That's not what this movie's for. It's just, you just go see it if you like driving and sliding around.
I can't believe you don't like that, because didn't you drive a Bible camp van one summer?
Well, years ago, yeah.
I mean, let's say you'd be used to
Well,
that.
there's room in there, too. If you're driving a buck, there's room. If you crawl around a little bit, I ain't going to catch you. Of course, if I saw him back there, quit that crawling around. I'd holler at him and let him, know. But if you're just doing it, minimally, I ain't going to catch it. But in a little car like that Trans Am, compact car like that, ain't no which way someone ain't going to notice if you get to crawling around.
So if you picked up Sally Field in a wedding dress on the road, you wouldn't fall in love with her. You'd scold her the entire way.
I'd say sit
for
still.
Fidgeting?
I'd say sit still, yes. Any strange woman, first off, I ain't going to pick up some woman in the middle of the road. But that's me. Oh, man. I don't care. I don't pick up hitchhikers, period. Now, if she was in distress or something was happening, sure, I'd, maybe pull over and call 911 or do whatever I need to do. Of course, Burt Reynolds can't do that, because of the police. So I guess in his case.
And you can't do that because you don't know how to work a cell phone.
Well, that's true.
So I guess it's a good thing you never picked up Sally Field off the side of the road.
Well, I wouldn't. Is the point I'm making. Even
You
if
wouldn't
there's
pick her up now
opportunity.
if you seen her, and it was like, well,
If I
that's
knew
Sally
it was
Field.
her and she's waving me down, I said, "You Sally Field?" She said, "Yeah, you know, you need a ride." She said, "Just down, you know, yes."
I'd
pick her up
pay to
that
see
way.
that movie than you fall in love with Sally Field.
I ain't gonna fall in love with her.
So we're almost up to Sally Field anyway. We just have this excursion in Texarkana where Burt Reynolds gets on a forklift and throws his little friend Jerry Reed into a bunch of cases of beer.
Very funny, very funny.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And then they load up the truck. They break some stuff also, by the way. He kicks in a door. Was somebody supposed to be there? I've never understood that part.
Hey,
Nobody's there at the Coors.
They just break in and take it,
Is
basically.
Coors like Chick-fil-A that closed on Sunday?
It may be. Back in the 70s could have been the case.
A lot of stuff was closed on Sundays in the 70s. If
Yeah.
people had a time machine now, like millennials, and they went back to the 70s, the first thought would be like, oh, groovy, far out. The second thing would be like, I want a taco.
Yeah.
Nothing's open.
Well, it depends on what part of the world you're in, but yeah.
I want a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
I gotta go to the Quick Sack. Everything was called the Quick Sack in the 70s. Churches. Everything was a Quick Sack.
Ah.
It was great. So anyway, so then you meet Sally Field. Jackie has already stressed the fact that he would not help her.
Well,
He hates Sally Field.
maybe
and
the
everything
kind of help she
stands
needs
for.
is in the ride, a real fast drive. Maybe that's not that. Maybe she needs help, but not that kind of help.
What does she need then?
I
Sally
don't-
Field's whisperer.
She was just running. Now, she put herself in that situation because she was going to marry Junior and then run away at the last minute. And that's her choice. That's fine. But she put herself in that situation. That's all I'm saying.
So then you get to see Jackie Gleason show up.
Well, that's when things really get good. And
That's when the cussing really starts. There's
Yeah.
some cussing before this.
a little bit is kind of cute, silly cussing. This is going to be, and you know me, I ain't crazy about bad language, but Jackie Gleason is funny cussing, yeah.
Do you think people back then were like, I wish Jackie Gleason hadn't used that language?
No, didn't nobody say that because you had to take all the fun out of it.
Not even old ladies?
How many old ladies going to go see Smokey and the Bandit?
How many you think did?
I'm trying to think back when it was in the theaters. I don't remember like a nursing home in there with me or nothing, no.
I guess everybody that's seen it back in is just an old lady now. Everybody.
Well, yeah, nowadays, yeah.
So Jackie Gleason shows up, beats up a couple of kids, 3 young punks.
Kicks them in the rear end.
3 young Texas punks, roughs them up a little bit, police brutality. Every one of them boys has a haircut of somebody I went to school with. And then you find out that Jackie Gleason and his son Tarzan are chasing Sally Field, and she just got in the car with Bandit. And that is pretty much the plot. You got the 2 plots.
That's all you need.
Get the
Plot's
beer.
over.
Get the beer and runaway bride. Those are the plots. It's not like somebody, who lives in the windmill? Like, that's Carolyn's stepfather. Then you find out it was her real father. And then, well, what happened to Meemaw? And then Meemaw turns out, and then the windmill is actually a lighthouse. Like, that's too much plot. And then at the end, the old caretaker was alive, and he stumbles down the stairs with the axe in his hand. They get him, and then, like, he's back to life. Like, none of that happens in this.
But what does happen is a lot better than that as far as I'm concerned, because then you could say he jumped a bridge.
That is better.
Yeah.
That is better.
Top of the car come off.
Yep.
Landed on a flatbed truck.
So do you need plots? Like, if you were like, okay, so it turns out that he was in love with her, but only before they got married. And then, like that, no. And then the dog, no, well, maybe the dog. I'll listen to the part about the dog. But then, if you say the car,
Right.
like, lands on a truck,
Yep.
and the truck keeps going,
Yeah.
and he's like, hey, can you let me off at the next exit? You're like, yeah, where's that movie playing? Like, tell me about the plot. I can't tell you about the plot, but I can tell you about a car that nearly killed some little leaguers.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay, tell me about that. I just did. Sold. Where's the popcorn? We're out. I guess I'll watch it hungry. You will.
That's what you call word of mouth right there.
That's word of mouth.
That's word of mouth. That's how,
That's the best kind of advertising.
I think so.
In your mind.
Down south when this come out, it was like, it wasn't like, you seen it yet? It ain't like, have you seen that new movie? It's like, you seen Smokey and the Bandit yet? I ain't seen it yet. Well, get down there and see it. It's good.
Get in my car.
Let's go right now.
So they got the beer.
Yep.
They got Sally Field.
Oh, yeah.
They got Jackie Gleason chasing them.
Yep.
They're eastbound and down.
Finally, yeah. When that song comes on, you sing along, tap your foot to it now, yeah.
You're like, is this over? No. Things are just getting started.
Yeah, just getting started, yeah.
They see the pissing cop again.
Yep.
He should go to a doctor.
There's things that can happen, make you have to go all the time. That's true.
A pissing cop, doesn't he run into a lake? It's hard to keep up with where
what
the
happens to
different
all these police.
crash.
Most of them wind up in a body of water of some kind.
I feel like, is that a joke because the pissing cop winds up like completely wet? No.
Maybe. Could be.
It's not a good joke.
Well, no, but some of the best jokes ain't good.
That's true. There's a great say. Burt Reynolds throws a cigarette down. Horn music comes on. He turns down a dirt road. Runs a black man fishing off a bridge. That part's not so great.
If you're a black man fishing in a Burt Reynolds movie, I'm sorry. I'll just say it right now. Sorry, because that Gator, same thing happened. Black man fishing, boat goes through his house. This one, black man fishing, didn't get as bad as the gentleman in Gator, but still just got knocked down in water.
He had to jump in the water.
He had to jump in the
water. The Gator
water.
man didn't have to jump in the water. He just
no,
lost
but
his
he
house.
doesn't have a house though. He didn't get wet, but he lost a house. If it was up to me, if I had a choice, I'd say I'd jump in the water.
Yeah, keep your house.
So at least
I got towels. If I have my house, I got towels.
Do you think by this is evolution of Burt Reynolds movies and Gator than this gentleman? Do you think a black man fishing in a later movie, maybe Burt Reynolds just drives by and waves at him, says hi?
Good luck, Wayne. I hope so.
Me too. We'll have to watch them all to see.
I hope that's. Are we going to do that? What, are we going to watch Stick?
Yeah, I don't know if I can sit through Stick or Rent a Cop.
And Jerry Reed singing, the more wheels I got, the better I like it. Is that a real song?
If he's singing it, it is.
It is. It is. It just become that song. All right, so 10 minutes in a car with Burt Reynolds gets you to start smoking because Sally Field tries to smoke and be cool like Burt Reynolds, like the 70s. Like she dropped in from another decade, and she's like, well, this is the 70s.
Give me a cigarette.
Like I said, I can't believe that maybe she was a dancer. She needed to keep her lungs pink. But I can't believe that she was on Broadway and she wasn't smoking backstage.
Yeah, in the
smoking
70s.
Something.
Yeah. But she sure don't like smoking that cigarette, but it don't stop her from doing it.
No. I guess that's how everybody gets started. So here's where Smokey starts talking to the bandit. They get on that's when he's like, I'm tail grabbing your ass. Isn't that what he's saying?
Yeah.
Some of what Jackie Gleason says is funny, doesn't make sense, really.
It's all funny, but it don't have to make sense.
What is tail grabbing your ass? Is that something people say?
I think it's tailgating you, but grab, it's a combination of both.
Then there's a scene. There's a lot of this in the movie. There's a few times where people start improvising. You can tell Hal Needham was just like, just go, just improvise. This is a little different of a case where Sheriff Buford T. Justice says, nobody makes Sheriff Buford T. Justice look like a possum's pecker. And then his son Tarzan says, except for that time where the man, or whatever, I don't know what he says. Like, well, there was that one time. Well, except for that. Like, shut up, you.
Yeah.
But what was he going to say?
I don't know.
Nobody makes Sheriff Buford T. Justice look like a possum's pecker. Except for that your ass.
Was it funnier to cut away than to hear what the time that Buford T. Justice was made out to look like a possum's pecker?
I couldn't tell you.
I would love to know what he was about to say.
Well, I like it. But if he just came out and said it, then you wouldn't get to hear him cuss him. Shut your mouth, whatever it is.
That's true.
You know.
I don't know if Tarzan could have really sold the story.
Is that what Jackie Gleason did most of the time? Because on the honeymoon, that's what he told his wife, shut your mouth, bang, zoom the moon. That's all he says to his son in this one. Is that pretty much what he did?
Yep.
Just threaten to hit people? I mean, he's funny. I ain't saying that's a bad thing. He's funny.
Jackie Gleason and Burt Reynolds, similar traits.
Very similar. I think that's why they're going to run into trouble eventually here in this movie.
A lot of simmering anger and resentment, the threat of a slap. The thing is, Burt Reynolds actually slaps people, and
Jackie Gleason, he just mouth,
Ralph Cramden was all talk.
He was all talk.
You shouldn't threaten anybody.
Well, no, but unless it's a funny TV show, then it's okay.
Oh, Sheriff Buford T. Justice is also racist, because we get to the part here where there really isn't a plot to this. And then he sees a black sheriff, and he's a racist. You sure you're out of popcorn? Yeah, let me see if we got a bag. No, we ain't got nothing. All out of food at this movie theater. So, Sheriff Buford T. Justice meets a black African-American sheriff in Arkansas, Sheriff George Branford of Gleason County, Arkansas.
Hey, boy, where's Sheriff Branford?
I am Sheriff Branford.
Oh, yeah, for some reason or another, you sounded a little taller on radio. What the hell is the world coming to?
Is that the most racist that he gets in this movie?
It may be another reference or something, but they trying to point out, now he's the bad guy. We're supposed to make fun of him. The bad guy is racist, so that's good. The good guys, they try to give as many opportunities as they can. Jerry Reed and Burt Reynolds to talk to black people, and everybody likes them, and vice versa.
They're friends with black people, except for the fishing, the ones who fish.
Yeah, they didn't know one another as far as I could tell. But other than that gentleman, rest of everybody else in the movie, friends. So I'm conflicted. Do they need to have racism and whatnot and all, especially in a dumb little movie like this? Probably not. But if they did, at least he's the bad guy. We're supposed to point out there.
At least you see, though, that they're also saying he's of a previous generation. This New South.
He's an idiot. Yeah, this is New South. Burt Reynolds, we have to give him credit for that. He was always about New South.
This is New South. He's driving away from the Old South, trying to get away from it. The South won't let him go.
Nope.
Chasing him.
All the way through it.
New South took Old South's women and is friends with African Americans. People are uncomfortable in this movie theater in the 70s in Arkansas.
Probably not. Just a few people, not everybody.
Jackie Gleason has a racist one-liner, and people are like, yeah. Sheriff George Branford of Gleason, Arkansas, has a deputy who acts a little bit like he's in a Bubble Yum commercial.
He's a mayor's son, right?
I think he's the mayor's son.
He's the mayor's son.
Correct.
Calls him out on that. But those policemen, they wind up in the river.
So then we got the Diablo sandwich scene.
Now, this is an important scene because from what we've gathered from, documentaries and articles and books, that this is the only scene where they're together, side by side, talking to one another, Burt Reynolds and Jackie Gleason. Supposedly, the day after they shot this scene, Burt Reynolds went up to Hal Needham, or the producer or somebody, and said, I ain't doing anything else with him. End of that. And sure enough, it was. So there were scenes where I think they were supposed to be together, and they cut all those out because Burt didn't want to be around Jackie Gleason no more.
They didn't film them. They didn't film him, or they filmed? No,
they didn't film him. He wouldn't. He wasn't about should be in the movie. He didn't want to be in a room with Jackie Gleason for whatever reasons. We don't know. We can speculate why, but I don't.
What? Why would you speculate?
Well, like you ought to. They're two giant egos right there. One threatens to slap, one does slap.
That's the recipe for disaster.
I think it is.
Or a Diablo sandwich. So Jackie Gleason comes in here, yells, what's the Diablo sandwich and Dr. Pepper?
And we in a hurry.
In a hurry. We have watched this, Jackie. How many times did you say we have watched this movie?
In my lifetime?
Yeah, 70, 75?
Around there, yeah.
I don't know why I never had noticed, because I guess you're still focused on the Diablo sandwich part, but then Jackie Gleason immediately runs back to the door, yells, "You want something?" And Junior says, "Hush puppies, Daddy."
And then Jackie Gleason, "We ain't got time for that." Does he say that?
He says crap.
Crap. We ain't got time for that crap.
He's one of the only people that says crap and makes it as funny as shit.
Why did he ask him if he wanted anything? It wasn't no matter what he answered, he was going to tell him we ain't got time for it.
This last time we watched this movie, right before we did this talking, that really made us laugh for a long time.
Did. Let me have a Diablo sandwich, a Dr. Pepper. Make it fast. I'm in a goddamn hurry. You want something?
Hush puppy, Daddy.
We got no time for that crap.
Hush puppies.
Yeah, hush puppy. Why does he want hush puppy?
We ain't got time for that crap.
That may be like the dumbest thing he says in the whole movie. He just, hush puppies are good. Actually, that may be the smartest thing. I would never think to go to a restaurant and just get a bunch of hush puppies. But why not? Hush puppies are delicious.
They are good.
Hush puppies, Daddy. It's really funny. That's really funny.
Good scene. Just pay attention. It go by fast.
So this is the big scene. This is the heat scene, the Pacino De Niro scene where you got Jackie Gleason and Burt Reynolds together. It's funny. They're both really funny.
They both managed to do what they do best, I guess, in it. And it's a shame that Burt Reynolds hated Jackie Gleason so much because I would have liked to seen more scenes of them two together.
I mean, I don't know why it doesn't have to be a competition. Why can't you just, how are you going to compete? Even if you're Burt Reynolds, the biggest movie star in America, you cannot compete with whatever that is that Jackie Gleason is doing.
No, nobody can. The only person that could barely do it is Art Carney. Other than that.
And they were not talking either.
They didn't.
Maybe it's Jackie Gleason that's at fault here.
It could be.
Maybe we shouldn't be so quick to blame Burt Reynolds.
Well, they said Burt Reynolds. They didn't say. That's just what the information that we have obtained concerning this doesn't mention Jackie Gleason. I'm sure Jackie Gleason had plenty of sway on this movie, but I'm going to guess Burt Reynolds had a lot more and said, I ain't working with him no more for whatever reasons. Ain't doing the scene with him. Now, I ain't saying putting it past Jackie Gleason didn't say, do something awful to him. That may be the case.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of actor Jackie Gleason was. Was he he must have been a good given actor. I mean, I know he stopped talking to Art Carney, but they all loved him, right? They all worked together.
I think so.
I have to get a Jackie Gleason book, too.
Well, maybe we got two more of these movies to talk about, so we probably need to know as much about Jackie Gleason as possible.
I don't think there's a big Gleason. How many? Jackie, have you seen all the books I gotten? Dang it. Books.
The great one.
So anyway, Jackie Gleason's eating this sandwich, and I always worry that he's going to have a stroke. I've seen it 70, 75 times, but I'm always worried this is the one time I watch it, he's going to have that stroke. Eating that sandwich, his face red.
You worried for him. You are when you see him. Calm down a little bit. I know you're just acting, but good Lord. He puts his all into it, that's for sure.
And when he says got to take a squirt, I just always assumed it meant take a leak, but take a squirt like after what he just eat and did, anything could come out of his body from any hole. I'm pretty sure squirt means leak. Pretty sure take a squirt means, but it's just the way he says it and eating that sandwich so fast. I just imagine it just going down him and then right out the other end. And then he gets the toilet paper. I know he's just cleaning his glasses, but the toilet paper gets stuck to his glasses and he walks out with that.
Well, a nice waitress comes and
she didn't have to do that.
She didn't have to do that. They could have kept laughing at him, watching him go on and try to get in his car with pulling toilet paper. She come out and took it off his glasses. Kind of her to do it. Turns around to go back in, and he asks comment about her anatomy. That's not, but again, bad guy.
He says nice ass. Yeah.
But in this case, he's the only one that's mean to to black people, thank goodness, in the movie, even as bad as that is, he's just him. But then everybody says nice, ass.
Later in the second, Jerry Reed's about to tell Sally Field that she has a nice ass.
Everybody says
nice ass.
That seems, I guess, is that 70s?
Was that the 70s? Do you remember people just telling each other they had a nice ass?
I don't remember it, no.
Did people tell you had a nice ass?
Nobody said no.
It was probably just men doing it to women.
I never said it to anybody, no. They say it in this movie. Yeah, they do it a lot.
He did say nice ass. I also like it when he says nice lady. I don't like, he says nice, he says nice lady. I can't do it, but he's real funny.
Yeah.
But then he tells a woman nice ass. Listen, it's hard to be funny at the drop of a hat. Like, come up and say something funny. I'll just comment on this woman's ass. She's just a prop for me in this 70s trucker movie. I'll get the laugh, and the show continues.
Well, he's a professional, that's for sure, so.
So this was where Sally Field was leaving the Bandit behind. But because she sees Sheriff Buford T. Justice in there, and she's got a crush on Burt Reynolds, she gets in the Trans Am, drives away, and he jumps in too. So now they're being chased once again by Jackie Gleason, Sheriff Buford T. Justice.
They're always being chased by him. I mean, there's a little diversion.
I really don't need to say.
Yeah, that's a constant throughout the movie, yeah.
So then you come to a scene of a funeral, and there's a funeral procession, and you see two, what would they be, funeral home attendants?
They're driving the hearse.
Hearse drivers. And one of them has a CB handle named the Grave Robber, and he gets on. He's like, "Hey, you know who that was? That was the Bandit."
Recognize him, yeah.
Let me get on here and say. But before that, he's improvising, and he says, "Oh, that's the way I want to go out. That's the best way." What were they talking about before
I don't
that?
know.
Why would you start the conversation there, Hal Needham? I want to know what's the best way to go out.
And these gentlemen would know. They work in the death industry. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear it, yeah.
If somebody comes up to you and says, "I know the best way to die," you'd be like, "So? Where do you work? Air conditioner plant?"
I don't want to hear it.
If somebody comes up to you, "I know the best way to die," where do you work? "I drive a hearse, and my CB handle is the Grave Robber."
I want him to pass on that information to me.
Yeah.
Hope it don't ever have to come into use, but you never know.
So the Grave Robber and his hearse driving friend, actually the other guy's driving the hearse. The Grave Robber, I guess,
he just works a CB. He
in the 70s when there was a funeral procession, everybody had their CB radio, so you got a lot of condolences just in the car
on the way there. I'm running out of time. Breaker. I'm gonna turn my lights off and get out of this line, but I wish you well.
Come back. Ain't no coming back from where Grandpa went.
Nope.
But I'll see him there someday, over. You say over on the CB? What do you say when you're done? I'm gone.
I'm out.
I'm out. Snowman out. Coming at you. Sorry for your loss. Come back.
Did Jerry Reed invent CB talk? It seems like he did. I don't think that he did necessarily, but after he did CB talk, there's no point in anybody else doing it.
It seemed like he talked CB talk before there were CBs and then after as well.
Yeah. He never stopped talking CB talk.
Now, if you hear his records, like before the CB craze, it still sounds like he's on the CB radio.
Yeah, it does.
Alabama Wild Man. I mean, he's on CB radio,
yeah.
Right? Or he's practicing for when it was invented.
Nobody does it better. What's that movie, the Maid, trucking movie, Convoy?
Uh-huh.
Chris Christopherson. Now, he may sing a song or two, but him talking on the CB,
No.
Jerry Reed.
Yeah.
Chris Christopherson put me to sleep talking on the radio.
If it's the 70s, you don't want Chris Christopherson driving a truck. We should probably just save this for the Convoy show.
Yeah, we got that one coming up, so yeah, we don't want to ruin it, but
we're gonna have a lot of sleepy Chris Christopherson stumbling downstairs looking for a joint jokes in the Convoy episode. What are you looking for, Chris?
Got something to look forward to.
I left something in my pants. You see my pants? I left a joint in them. The Chris Christopherson story. So then they, but wait, that does mean we need to watch the Jerry Reed trucking movie Highballing.
I want to see it.
Because it sounds like we just sold ourselves on watching it.
Any movie where he's doing CB talk, which is all of his movies, and then him actually in a truck talking on a CB, even better. Highballing it is.
I mean, you think it'd be cool if Snowman had his own movie.
Well, he does eventually.
And it's not.
It's not. His character was worthy of more than that, I thought.
Do you like it, though, when he makes jokes about being in Nashville? When he's like, Bandit, you're reckless and you live much too hard. I ought to be in Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
That's a little Fresh Prince moment right there.
What is it?
Oh, they nearly killed those kids at the ballpark. I guess that's in real life.
This is, and it's hard to watch this after they tell you the story, because if you just watch it, you think, oh, look, that's a hell of a stunt they did there. But then when they explain to you, Hal Needham said they had it all set up, you know, and they were professional, but what they didn't take into account is that they wet the grass. Grass was hosed down. So when this car comes jumping up, this Trans Am comes jumping up and land into this little football field, children are jumping out of the way, just barely getting out of the way.
You can't stop that bullet.
No.
And they crashed. They hurt some kids. They don't really talk about how much they hurt them kids, but they hurt some kids.
People went to the hospital. We know that. But if you just watch it.
It was on the news.
It was on the local news. And, yeah, it's a little disconcerting knowing that people wound up. But thank God everybody, you know, all right. But
if you ain't seen it yet, you need to watch the documentary, The Bandit. It was on CMT. It's on the Blu-ray of Smokey and the Bandit.
Anniversary Blu-ray.
And 30th anniversary Blu-ray of Smokey and the Bandit. I think you can find clips of it online too, but you need to watch The Bandit. It's a good documentary about Hal Needham mostly, Burt Reynolds, and mostly about Smokey and the Bandit and how they nearly killed some kids. Now, that's just a small part of it.
That's just, that's not the whole thing.
If you watch that documentary, though, and you get in mind about all these Hal Needham stunts, like that scene, that truck flipping over in Gator that like nearly lands on his head.
Yeah.
And then you see like little stunts, like when Burt Reynolds pulls up, when that cop hiding from that pissing cop, and he looks in the camera, when he pulls behind that building.
That's a tight little fit. Yeah, that's
he
fast.
barely makes that.
I know it.
Dangerous is what we're saying. The 70s.
Very much so, yeah. It's hard for me. I mean, thank God all the children are okay, but yeah, when you see that, it's like, good God Almighty.
So here's where Jerry Reed tells Sally Field she has a nice ass and then chases his dog into the water, which I guess is what he gets.
For having a dog?
For sexually harassing Sally Field.
But she don't mind it, and she likes it.
Is it her choice to be put in that position?
I don't know. In the movie, the character, she's like, thank you.
She's not sitting around going, I wish somebody would tell me I had a nice ass.
No,
a man tells her she has a nice ass, and she has to react.
Hey, Bandit. Nice ass.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
So what's she going to do? Make everybody awkward on their crazy little big Enos bet? Like, well, now I have to, if I cause a scene, it's going to be real awkward in the Trans Am. No, she has to pretend like everything's fine.
She says thank you for something along the lines
Thank you.
of that.
Thanks. Jerry Reed's awkward. Oh, sorry. But I guarantee you, if you offered Sally Field the choice between Jerry Reed telling her she has a nice ass or Jerry Reed keeping his mouth shut, she'd go with the second one. I would like to know that people think I have a nice ass, but I don't need them telling it to me out loud. And also, I benefit from it. Institutionalized sexism.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jerry Reed is fishing his dog out of the water, and Sally Field and Burt Reynolds, after a little ass talk, back by the pond, bearing their souls. Did Snowman call you a legend? Burt Reynolds says, I used to do some crazy things. Drive a truck? Like everybody I went to school with? She talks about being in a Broadway show that closed the first night. I wish they'd spend a little more time on the plot of this show.
Well, that's just for them to talk and get cuddly and, get a kiss. It's just a little romantic part.
What do you do? Tell me straight, she says. And he says, I just go from place to place and do what I do best. And she says, what's that? And he says, show off. And she says, yeah, you do that well. That is nonsense and great. That does not make any sense at all, and it's perfect.
Yep. And this is a scene, it's always a little awkward watching Burt kiss on somebody. But it's brief, it's to the point. It may not make a lot of sense, but we understand what's going on, and then we're out of it for too long. It takes a little while. At least to get to hear Jerry Reed sing a song underneath it, so that makes it
the Bandit.
Makes it bearable. Yeah.
Takes his hat off.
Don't you ever take that hat off for anything?
Sure. I take it off for one thing, and one thing only.
Takes his hat off for one thing.
One thing
boning.
Only. Well,
they rewrote that. That was in the script. I take my hat off for one thing and one thing only. What's that? Boning?
They didn't say that.
Not as romantic.
No. Bandit, he was classy. Bandit didn't talk, language like that. Nice ass is about as bad as it got.
That's just his friends.
Yeah.
Well, he would say. He said a few of them.
He said it too, yeah.
They should remake Harry and Tonto with Snowman and Fred. If Jerry Reed had lived.
That's back Jackie Gleason again. Art Carney.
Oh, yeah. Art Carney gets a cat.
Jerry Reed gets a dog.
Jackie Gleason gets a dumber son. Dumber than any animal.
Tarzan.
There's another scene of Burt Reynolds talking to a black person. He likes to sprinkle those throughout his movie. It is kind of important. I know. I was about to say Burt Reynolds is doing this just so that you know that he likes black people. Because it's the New South. But it is important.
It is. At the time, now, it may look a little awkward now, and it does here and there. But
him going, my man, and slapping each other 5.
Yeah, a little, But that's dated, that sort of thing like that. But no, the fact that it's important to show that, black people are meaningful in these characters' lives and vice versa, that's, I think that's a good thing.
It's better than not having any black people in it, I think. The gas station was black. There's no black people in your movie, Mr. Reynolds. The guy at the gas station was But it's better. So if you're going to make movies for white Southern audiences, and I'm not saying you have to be white or Southern to enjoy this movie, but Burt Reynolds says that he knew this would go gangbusters in the South. He puts people being nice to black people. Jesus, was that the bar?
Sadly, in some cases it was. Again, like we're saying, Burt Reynolds was a New South. He we were trying to put the rest of that,
So the old South was hoses and dogs, and the New South is over tip. I mean, that's better.
It's better, but
they do tip. They always tip. They tip well.
They do.
The heroes in this movie tip well.
Yeah.
They show a sheriff who's African American.
Right.
They show a
in the lake, but in the river, but yeah.
He does go into the river.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't get wet though.
That's true. He's
and then
hanging in the car, yeah.
He does get humiliated when Jackie Gleason shows up and racists him. So even though he's a dignified sheriff who has command of the situation, he gets run off the road. Still kind of has his dignity because it's the other guy that messed up.
He wasn't driving. Yeah.
He told him, if you wreck this car, even if you are the mayor's son or what. So they wreck the car. He still got his dignity, but then Jackie Gleason shows up to, I guess, show us that he's right to get the joke, racist joke, and then just to rob whatever last little bit of dignity we gave to. But if you were a black kid in 1977 who saw Sheriff George Bradford, what did you think? I think you were just waiting for the cars to come back on.
Yeah.
No matter what color kid you were.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're ready for see some more jumps and chases.
I don't want to tell black kids in the 70s what to think, but I'm pretty sure when they saw Sheriff George Bradford, it was just a middle-aged character actor. Here's where you got Burt Reynolds and Jackie Gleason talking to each other on the CB, even though they're at the same gas station. It's the part where Burt Reynolds says, "Don't you cuss on this here radio." And Jackie Gleason says, "Tick turd."
All of his curse words don't make any sense, but they're all good. Always funny.
Then later, the scene where Burt Reynolds calls Brenda Lee a spinner. Miss Brenda Lee, a long time rocking around the Christmas tree. Not cool.
Yeah.
But good stunts.
Yeah.
Oh, there's racist when the Asian truck driver, he yells bonsai, and
they play, you know.
Like that didn't even.
There used to be music that they would play under an Asian person in movies.
As a joke?
Yes.
Like, do we need to write a joke, or why don't we just play this music under this Asian person?
That's pretty much what it is, yeah.
I don't think that's representation so much. That's like anti-representation.
Probably not. Yeah. While all this is going on, Jerry Reed's pulling into a biker bar, I guess, right? Is it a biker bar? We get to meet some of his...
I think it's just a bar that's got some bikers in here. It's like, where'd you get all these warthogs, son?
Where'd they come from, yeah. And here's another scene where the good guys have black friends. He knows the proprietors of this establishment, and Jerry Reed knows them well, and they know him well, it appears. But there's a lot of these, what are they, Hell's Angels? What are they, just bikers?
They know him well enough that one black guy is like, "I'm leaving," and leaves Jerry Reed there with all the bikers by himself. Good going. He could have taken the dog with him.
Well, that's true, yeah.
So, yeah, bikers, I did not know this about bikers. Bikers do not like truckers, according to Smokey and the Bandit.
Enemies.
Or
dogs, for that matter.
Guy, you know that these bikers are not good people because they're rough-handling Fred.
They said Fred bit him, which I don't think that's true. I think they was fibbing. I don't think he bit anybody. But they got a hold of him by the scruff of the neck, and you're worried. You don't want anybody to hurt a dog.
That's true in every movie.
I don't care what it is. Even Cujo. Don't you hurt him.
Talk to him first.
Try to. Do something. Shoot him with a sleeping dart.
Yeah, get a sleeping. Shoot him in the knee. You don't have to hurt him.
I don't like anybody to hurt a dog in a movie. And fortunately, Fred doesn't get hurt. But Jerry Reed does.
Jerry Reed gets the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, they beat the hell out of Jerry Reed.
And I watched this with the captions on, and it had stuff I'd never heard the bikers saying. This is what they said to Jerry Reed when they're hitting him in the stomach and face. "Gear jammer, huh? King of the road, huh?" I hate truckers.
Hate truckers. Yeah, bikers don't like truckers. And after that, I could see why truckers wouldn't like bikers after that treatment. But you know Jerry Reed ain't going to sit around and just take that on chin and go on about his business. No, sir. No, sir. He gets in his semi-truck, revs it up, and runs all over those bikers' motorcycles. Runs them all over. He showed them. How they going to get home?
Guess they'll have to walk.
Yep.
Maybe they live in that bar now.
They might have to.
So now they're back on the road. Burt Reynolds has had sex with Sally Field, and Sally Field has had sex with Burt Reynolds.
You don't have to say it that way. They had an intimate moment, and that's bad enough.
That's just as bad.
I know it, but that's not... The whole movie isn't about them fooling around while Jerry Reed gets beat up. That's just one small part of it. It's a part of it.
It's a big part. Fred swims. He gets his ass kicked. Burt Reynolds takes his hat off.
That's what leads to the romance.
Poor frog. So then there's some hookers. This is when you start to see, this happens in a lot of trucker movies, when a trucker's in trouble and everybody else on the CB radio network, all the other truckers and little old ladies with CBs and hookers with CB, everybody got CB.
Yeah, like, in the 70s, yeah.
"We're going to help you out here, Bandit honey." And the hookers are like, we're out here doing all the cops, and you owe us one for helping you. I hope somebody disinfected that CB.
The hookers were the only one that really told him in the movie, because there's plenty of people help him out. The Undertakers help him out, throughout the film, different people, but they're the only ones that tell him, you owe me one. Everybody else, don't bring it up. They're just happy to do it. But,
well,
ladies of the evening saying now,
capitalist society.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying everybody else evidently do it out of the kindness of their heart. I'm not saying, anything good or bad. I don't think you see any problem with asking for something in return,
Oh, there's another great improv scene around here when there's two cops, and that Hal Needham was like, just improvise, just do whatever. Improvise about whatever you want. And the actors playing the cops were like, you see that new waitress down at the diner named Arlene? I'd like to take a, want to, okay, let's cut, and let's go back and just improvise about whatever you want. It can be anything. Action. Arlene, I want to take a run at her legs, boy, and she cooked a pie, but mainly her nice ass.
Yeah.
I want to climb up in it.
All right. It didn't go that far.
Improv. So now you got these sort of like pre-OJ, go Bandit banners, people standing on the side of the road yelling, go Bandit. That's in like Sugarland Express too, right? That's the...
Well, in that one, they're going to get a baby. If they're trying to get a baby, not a bear.
But is that the only difference?
They don't have a dog.
Yeah. So Smokey and the Bandit, better movie.
I'm going to say, yeah.
Beer and dog.
But as much as I like Burt Reynolds, there's some Burt Reynolds movie, maybe somebody else could have done it, but you couldn't replace Jerry Reed. No, sir. Nobody could. I'm not saying you could always replace Burt Reynolds. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them, White Lightning, Gator, Gleason, couldn't nobody else do it but Burt Reynolds. But the man who loved cat dancing, Ryan O'Neal.
I've never seen The Survivors, but maybe somebody else could have been Jerry Reed in that.
I don't know about that.
If I was going to say one, it'd be that one.
Well,
without having seen it.
I'm going to say, even if it ain't a good movie, he's good in it.
Talking about Jerry Reed and Robin Williams, who would have been a good genie in Aladdin if Robin Williams couldn't have done it? Jerry Reed.
That would have been the best genie.
Now you rub that bottle.
Son.
Yep.
Son. Tell me what you want.
Tell me what it is you want. Tell me what it is. It's the same thing. Tell me what it is you need. Is it just because they're both doing black guys? Man, there's a lot to unpack here.
That would have been the best genie, though. Jerry Reed.
It would have been and those songs would have been better.
A lot better, yeah.
Should we just do our Smokey and the Bandit musical where they find a genie and it's Jerry Reed?
I'd want to see it. I've seen Smokey and the Bandit. I need to see something a little different if I'm going to see the musical.
Smokey and the Bandit, it's an Aladdin musical where Jerry Reed is the genie. And Aladdin kind of is a bandit already.
Yeah.
Charming rascal. Probably what you do is flying carpet race to go get some Smokey and Aladdin. So you get a flying carpet and you got to go to Texarkana to pick up some beer. Jerry Reed's the genie. I don't know who's driving the truck. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Hey, we're getting close to the end, Jackie.
Really?
You got Hot Pants. Getting on the CB, he finds Hot Pants, and I guess she hangs out at a weird drive-in where teenagers and a bunch of cars and trucks just waiting to interfere with a police chase.
Sitting around waiting, yeah.
Now, this would be the part in a modern movie where, like, the bandit would give up or his car, he'd get a flat. He'd have a fight with Sally Field. He'd walk away. He'd leave her out somewhere. And she'd say, what's the matter with you? He'd say, I can't do it anymore. We're not going to make it. He slams the door. And she's like, Bandit, I thought you were different. People believe in you.
Yeah.
Or whatever. They don't do that.
No.
He has like 20 seconds where he's like, we ain't going to make it, son. And Jerry Reed says, yeah, we are.
End of that story.
The end. And then they do. And seriously, they were like 2 minutes away. Why did he think he couldn't? He jumped a bridge.
We jumped over that bridge! We did that! Did you see what we did?
Yes, I did.
I want to jump something else! I want to jump a house! I want to jump something!
Oh, jump me.
How could he not? I guess if you're going to lose your gumption, like 2 minutes away from winning is the place to do it. Like, because he really could have just coasted down a hill and then kind of won.
Yeah.
So they drive into the truck rodeo, which is still going on. 2 days later. No, it's Southern Classic. They make it to the Southern Classic.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is.
I don't either, but that's what it says.
It looked a lot like the truck rodeo.
And he got old Big Enos and Little Enos. Still big and little, still funny.
What if they flipped and little was big and big was little?
That wouldn't make no sense. What you
Genie. Oh, no, that was my imaginary one.
What?
I thought maybe if the genie flipped them.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to rearrange you boys.
The whole song about rearrange. Well, big was little and little was big.
All I'm going to be thinking now about is Aladdin with Jerry Reed as a genie. That's I can't. I need to focus on. We're almost done with this. But once you put that thought in my head, that's it. I got to see that. I know I can't because God rest his soul, he's gone. But, man, wouldn't that have been good?
Everybody who starred in The Survivors is no longer with us.
That's right. Old Robin Williams gone. Walter Matthau, Jerry Reed.
How have I not seen that? So, Jerry Reed says, Burt Reynolds, snap out of it. I'm going to introduce him to Cletus Snow, and he drives that truck right into the Southern Classic where Big and Little Enos say, you win. And then they say, we need a car to get out of here because there's a bunch of smokies on our tail. And they say, take our giant red Cadillac, and they get in it, and then Little Enos says, hey, how about double or nothing?
Double or nothing. They just can't resist.
Or Big Enos says, one of the Enoses.
Little Enos said double or nothing, I think.
Well, he definitely says a clam chowder.
Yeah. They want him to go this time, get up to Boston and back. How long did they say to do it?
It's like 19 hours.
19 hours.
To Boston and back.
I wouldn't put it past them to figure out a way to do it, but that's tough. Coming from where they're coming from,
Atlanta,
Georgia, up to Boston and back, 19 hours.
I don't think it's.
I don't know.
Technically possible.
I don't. Yeah.
But maybe they done it. Somebody should have made.
That should have been the Smokey and the Bandit 2, by the way. It really should have. Smokey and the Bandit 2 probably shouldn't have been whatever it is it came out to be, but it would have been much better if it was just them in that convertible riding up to get some clown chowder.
Instead, we get Elephant, which sounds good, and Dom DeLuise, which is, pretty good. And listen, we don't want to ruin that for you. We're going to talk about that soon.
That's coming up.
We're just going to leave you with them driving off to Boston. Jackie Gleason going, I don't get you son of a bitch. I can't do it, but it doesn't even sound like words. It's kind of amazing.
It's impressive.
The more I watch Jackie Gleason in this.
Every time I watch this again, I'm more and more impressed with him. Of course, he's, like I say, the great one. He's always good, but he gets a little better every time I watch it.
It's kind of insane. Who's going to hold your hat? Don't leave me, his son says as they run. He runs after his daddy's barely held together car as a sign in the background on these remastered versions say hot dogs, corn dogs, cigarettes, candy corn on the cob. That's the 70s, folks.
Summed up one movie.
The other summed up 70s is when that one CB radio man says, son, go get your daddy a beer. That's also.
Oh, yeah, there's a scene in there. I heard that almost every other day.
Were you the one saying it?
Well, a couple times, maybe a few more.
There's no way that you could come from my loins. As soon as I get home, the first thing I'm gonna do is punch your mama in the mouth.
Hey, thank you kindly for listening to us here on Redneck Matinee.
Whatever podcast place you're listening to this at, please give us a rating and a review.
And if you want to hear us cuss at Trump, go over to listen to us on the Red State Update podcast.
And if you really liked us, please go over to the Red State Update Patreon and give us a little jingle jangle.
Thank you kindly.